The objective of this summit and our meeting yesterday was to try and make sure that we have all the right conditions for negotiation. The problem, as I have just said, is that Russia is waging a war of aggression. And they would have to withdraw their troops from Ukrainian soil. And they are fighting an immoral war. So discussions are only possible if we can have very strong peace guarantees for Ukrainian people. And if those conditions are absolutely essential for a ceasefire or a peace agreement or an armistice. Let me say it here today, after a number of commitments that were made in Washington back in mid-August by the European nations' president that were present. The head of the armed forces and ministers of defense have been working tirelessly since then in close coordination with America and NATO members. And I can say here today that we are ready. The coalition of the willing, created on the 17th of February 2025 here in Paris, and following on from the work on the 24th of February, is a coalition for peace. And today the coalition of the willing met to ensure political and military commitments and pledges. All 35 members agreed to ensure peace and security stability for Ukraine. We need to ensure that in the negotiations that there are no conditions put on the type of armed forces that Ukraine will have. So therefore, we are going to provide means to refurbish and to resupply the Ukrainian armed forces to dissuade any further Russian attacks. This is the first and essential step that we have made, and we have pulled together all contributions from all countries. The second part of the peace and security guarantees is to ensure reassurance forces. There are 26 countries who have formally made pledges, who have committed to provide additional forces in Ukraine where needed, be it on the land, in the air, or by sea, to provide, again, further support to Ukraine and to Ukrainians until a ceasefire or peace can be found. Now, these military forces are not there to wage war against Russia. They are forces just there to ensure peace and to send a clear strategic message. One for a ceasefire, not on the front lines, which are still being determined, but they are a major way of all 26 members to provide support to Ukraine. An outcome of this summit is us going to be continuing political avenues. All countries within the coalition of the willing, along with Ukraine, have spoken about this. And we also spoke with President Trump, during which we were able to outline a number of conclusions, which are quite simple. In the coming days, we are going to finalize the American support for these guarantees. And again, they're going to be fully involved in all steps of the process. And I would like to thank representatives of the armed forces or political forces for all of their work. So in the coming days, we will shore up American support, but it was said very clearly that all members of the coalition of the willing, be they European or from Asia, the Pacific region, Canada, all took on responsibility. We also decided to coordinate our sanction measures, both primary and secondary sanctions, to be more effective and to curtail Russian efficacy. This is what we're also able to speak about with President Trump just a few moments ago. Russian counterparts and American counterparts will speak once again, and a number of key dates were put in place, and we'll make sure that those dates will be upheld. There is going to be a meeting between presidents and a trilateral and quadrilateral meeting as well. If Russia continues to refuse concrete peace discussions, which is the second possible outcome, given the way they have been behaving over the past few months since March, we will take additional sanctions, along with the United States, to provide a clear response to their refusal to make headway. This is also what President Trump said quite clearly during our phone call. Because we have always been on the side of the rule of law and peace, we want fair, long-term peace. We want Ukraine to be able to enjoy all of its rights, for international law to not be broken. It is because we abide by international law. It is for Ukraine, but it is also for our own security. And this is what I wanted to say quite clearly. I would like to thank all members of heads of state and government for attending and for all of their tireless work. I would like to thank also the President of the European Commission, of the Council, who were also with us. I would like to just remind everyone that the security guarantees have been finalized and were finalized during this summit and have political backing. They are fully compatible with all NATO planning practices and the Eastern flank protection. They are not taking away from those efforts. And this was made very clear and understood by all members. So in the coming days, we will just need to finalize the final stages of our work, and they will see us putting increased pressure on Russia so that Russia will finally come to the negotiations table to negotiate peace.